Nothing. Nothing.
It originally supposed to be Tanahashi, and I get it. Tanahashi had some travel things, but it was a decent match. But it looked like it was realistically setting up against for John Moxley versus Suzuki, and really
Yeah.
in reality, because Suzuki
Yeah.
came out after.
Yeah, it was. I've worked with Kojima. He's good, man. I worked with him in 2003 in All Japan back in the day, and
I
he
thought you were
was.
still with WWE in '03.
'03, I got fired.
I
Yeah, in
thought
'03, I was there from 2001 to 2003. I got fired. I believe I could be wrong, but I believe I got fired December of 2003.
really.
Yeah, so I
Uh,
was there for 2 years, but when I went to All Japan, Johnny Laurinaitis, actually got me the gig up there to go to All Japan for a couple of months.
hmm.
They spent in Japan, and I got to work with Kojima. But what a fucking talent! I mean, he was so good. Unfortunately, it doesn't feel like they tapped into that, you know. And
No.
Kojima could work with anybody. He works American style, so he's not stiff either, which is great. You know, he looks it, but he's not. So knowing that myself, I was a bit disappointed in the match. But
Mm.
what are you gonna do? Still, it was okay, but for me, it was more like uh, a filler, you know, instead of a feature that it should have been. Just
Right.
the no build kills it for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and that it sucks for Kojima
Yeah,
because for some people like myself who haven't seen him work other places, I don't.
right,
Well,
right.
maybe I might have seen him in New Japan, and I just don't remember. It's just one of those things where it didn't look good, but at the same time, I took the perspective of, okay, they didn't really build it, so he probably didn't know until like a couple days beforehand
Sure.
what was going on. So
And but the worst thing too is on pay per view, you almost know he's gonna win. You know who's gonna win.
right.
You know, unless they had a huge upset with Moxley, but you know, against Moxley loses, which you know isn't gonna happen, especially with a guy like that and Kojima being a part timer. So they got to do a little bit better.
Mhm.
Especially if you're going to feature them in these
Right.
kinds of situations, because regardless, whoever works with Moxley is going to be featured.
Hmm.
So they got to be a little more cognizant of that.
Exactly. Exactly. Especially because Moxley's their top
Yeah,
guy.
exactly. Yep.
The next one, and I like what they're doing with the challenger on this one. But excuse me, Britt Baker versus Chris Statlander. Chris
Mm.
Statlander's getting a nice little bill going in her direction.
Yeah, yeah. She's come a long way. When I first saw her, I didn't wasn't familiar with her work or with anything. I thought she was a pretty young lady who, which I know we're not supposed to say that they're pretty, but reality is, and Vince Russo always talks about this when he reviews any shows. It's like pro wrestling for the longest period of time. Not only did it feature women, and of course you would want attractive women. Shawn Michaels on the cover of Playgirl.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, like we'd always want also the guys that are good looking, that may wear skimpy trunks, because the ladies like it. You know, the ladies also enjoy a good looking dude out there, half naked. So to say it is just not realistic,
Yeah.
because it is what it is. It's entertainment. It's pro wrestling. So, but anyways, back to Statlander. She's a pretty girl. She's got a good physique. She's learning how to become a star. At first, she was indie-rific,
Hmm.
kind of. You could tell she had a lot of potential, but wasn't quite there yet with working on the big stage. On television, because you have to deal with times. Times of okay, you got 10 minutes, 8 minutes. The ref is counting it down on the earpiece and giving you that when you're on TV or pay-per-view live, because you only have so much time, or else you'll get cut,
Right.
and that's not what you want. So she's getting used to that,
Hmm.
and I think she's coming a long way. So yeah, I thought it was good. It was a nice little show. It could have been better, but it was a nice showcase win there for Miss Baker.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming. I'm assuming
Yeah.
Britt won that one, right?
Yeah, she did. She
Yeah,
did.
that's
That
what
was
I
for
thought.
that was for the women's title. And
Because
I
I don't
actually
have my
think
notes, so you're gonna have to carry that end.
no, it's fine. It's fine. And with Chris Statlander, I think she's going to end up being a women's champion either in, maybe not by the end of this year, but at least next year.
I'd have to agree with you. I think she has that much potential that
Hmm.
she will. because she's definitely one of the top five, ladies in that division. And
Right.
and I'm not trying to be a downer on this segment, and I'll move away from this quickly, but the way they started this division early on with Nyla Rose and Riho. And what was the other young lady who was champion? The woman, the Japanese wrestler.
Hikaru Shida.
Sheeta. Oh, basically what I'm trying to say is that entire um, roster of young women that were being pushed in AEW then are not even really a thing anymore.
Right.
They kind of, it feels like, okay, I've invested all this time in all these ladies, and now it's like, you almost don't see them anymore, especially Nyla Rose. That's
Right.
that she's taken a huge fall. I know they tried to have her with Vicky Guerrero
Hmm.
and a bunch of other situations, but boy, it seems, I don't know if she has heat or if she's hurt, but they haven't used any of those three women that I've mentioned to any, you know what I mean, to any
Not
big spot.
not on regular TV. No, they've
And
only
it's it's amazing because they were positioned to be tops, top
right.
one or two, so that's crazy.
And I think the women's division is kind of going through a restructuring
Right? Yeah, I agree.
phase.
It's the Britt Baker era. Ever since that match with Thunder Rosa, where they
Mhm.
both were bloodied up, that's where Britt Baker kind of arrived on the scene, and the company's like, we're going here,
Right. Which she
because
could
Britt.
talk. It's a good thing.
Yeah, well, Britt too. I was very critical of her in
Mhm.
the early days, in the 2019 2020s. Early on, I was very critical because she was so green.
Right.
She was very green, but she had the ability. She had a great gimmick, and she still does. Great gimmick, um, beautiful look.
Mhm.
Attractive girl, smart girl. Cuts a nice promo. So you give her some confidence, which she has now. The improvement in that 1 year mark has been just outstanding. So she's can you imagine her in 5 years? I mean,
Right.
she'll be up there with the Flares, with the
Yeah.
Charlottes. In my opinion, I think she has the capacity to do it. So yeah, it was a nice showcase for Britt.
Yeah. It was. It was. And honestly, her time with the injury and working with Shivani kind of helped her develop the character more.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, gave her time to just get her shit over. That's it.
Mhm. The tag match in the cage. Lucha Brothers against the Bucks. Brothers against brothers.
Whew.
This was an amazing match. Probably
Yeah, it
the tag
was.
team match of the year.
Yeah.
Uh, I was actually shocked. I was convinced. So here's the kicker. I have a Lucha Brothers shirt. I was definitely wearing it during the pay-per-view. I actually was convinced that the Bucks were still going to keep the tag titles. So I was shocked by the win. I'm happy
Yeah.
for the Lucha Brothers, but
Yeah.
I was shocked
Uh,
by it.
I think that was a well. Um, Curious. No, hear me out. Curious as far as timing. And the reason I say timing is I would have liked to have seen the Elite have almost all the belts. Like the Good Brothers have the Impact tag,
Hmm.
the Bucks have the AEW tag, and then Omega with the big belt and blah 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 blah. It goes down. The only title that they don't have is the TNT.
Right.
So I would have liked to have seen everybody kind of with a belt, and I wouldn't mind seeing seeing somebody beat Miro for the TNT belt and having the Elite almost Horseman esque, you
Hmm.
know, because that would whatever. I mean, that's the only thing I would say with that match. But the match itself was gold. It was gold, and I'm glad that they've really come back to Ray Phoenix and Penta as a legitimate, like not legitimate, they've always been legitimate, but for a while there, weren't they on two different factions, if I'm not mistaken?
Kind of. Eddie Kingston had the family, which had the Butcher and the Blade, Ray Phoenix, and Penta, and he was trying to pin Penta against Ray Phoenix.
Right. Yep. That's what I'm talking. Yep. Okay.
And then Ray Phoenix got injured and was out for a few months.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that because
Yeah.
to me, I always questioned that. I was like, wow, that's really weird.
Yeah.
But that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I'm glad that they're getting this opportunity. They certainly deserve it. They're one of the best tag teams in the entire world, if not I know Ray Phoenix is probably one of the top 5 wrestlers in the entire world. He's up there with anybody.
He
You
reminds me
know,
a lot of Mysterio.
yeah, you could
Uh,
say that.
yeah,
You could say that. Yeah.
the very like similar in fluidity in doing the aerial moves.
Yeah. And the one thing I like about Ray Phoenix as well is that he's a bigger athlete.
Yeah,
So even though I mean it helped, believe it or not, it helped Ray Mysterio in a way be so small because it almost gave him it was almost a novelty. You know what
right.
I mean?
Yeah, no,
So and Ray Phoenix is more of a you could put him up there against a heavyweight champion if you really wanted to. So it's a good thing to have.
he has a little bit of size to him. He's not as short as Rey Mysterio.
Right, exactly.
So here, I'm not gonna go through the whole battle royal,
Oh,
but
please don't.
but Ruby Soho did win and gets the championship match against Britt Baker. Do you think she's gonna dethrone Britt Baker?
I don't know. I would think it has to go all the way to what is it? No gear, I believe.
Full gear, full gear.
Full gear, no gear, full gear, the whole gear. I think it has to go all the way to full gear, but I don't know. I don't think Ruby will be the one to do it. I just don't see her being as over as I think they thought. I think it was more of a, she kind of got the mid card reaction. And another thing too, and I was very surprised. I never paid attention to her work when she was in the WWE, and I'll tell you, once I started to see it, I was very. I hate to. I'm not trying to diss her, but like she wasn't polished. I saw a lot of missed spots, uh, a lot of clunkiness. Like I don't know how to explain it, but
Right.
just
Okay.
it didn't flow for
Mhm.
me. Like a lot of her execution. So I think she still has a little ways to go, more than I thought so, because she was so highly regarded and spoken about.
She's a good talent. I just don't. That's a good. I'm trying to think of an example of who she's similar to, but I get. I 100% get what you're saying. In my opinion, I don't think she's gonna dethrone. I think it's too early. If I was to guess who would dethrone Britt Baker, I think it's gonna be either Chris Statlander or Thunder Rosa. I think
Oh,
I think it's gonna be one of those two.
I don't know if it'll be Thunder Rosa only because she's been. It's almost like I feel they've done, in their eyes. Maybe they feel they have done the match. Um, I don't know. That's but still, it seems like to me the only box office match they have because
Hmm.
Rosa is so good.
Hmm.
And what would be interesting to see is how they get there. So if they choose to go that route, hopefully they have a nice creative way. And it does.
I
I'll tell you, it doesn't take much, man. If they just put her, Thunder Rosa, I'm saying, on a long winning streak and just become very dominant and asking for a title shot, and just destroying people.
mhm.
You don't need it. It's not rocket science. Just make her look great, and hey, I want a shot. Let's go.
If if I
You
was to
know.
do it, I would have her do like a handicap against the two people that Britt Baker brings with her, Jamie Hayter and Rebel, and
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
and and let Thunder Rosa beat them, just like in a situation where Hayter and Rebel get like a miscommunication, and
sure.
and take the win that way, kind of like how they kind of squeeze Orange Cassidy into the main event with Omega and Pac. So
Well, okay. I like that. Actually, I like that a lot. That makes a lot of sense. So
yeah,
yeah, I like
that's
that.
just
Yeah,
that's one way to get there.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
This is another one I wasn't sure of on the finish, the Jericho versus MJF. Like,
Yeah,
because you and I were talking about Jericho's body being worn down. I'm like, okay, this is probably where he's just gonna stop in the ring and work announcer and maybe does one match here or there every year. But Jericho defeated MJF.
yeah. I really didn't see that coming. I really didn't see that coming. But that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that AEW has done very well, mind you. They have, really. made that feud. They solidified it. They took their almost, one could argue, almost too much